Good morning everybody and welcome on board this morning to WildEarth and Wendy, our ever faithful vehicle. My name's Tara and joining me on camera this morning is Brian, with obviously the film at some stage throughout the drive, so he's being ready to try and catch him. And back in follow control we have Andrew. So welcome on board. We've just come down from the quarantine area. You can see we've got Gary down just in front of us, and I've had some leopard tracks just on the road. So I just thought if I can stop here and scan to see if there's any movement. We also heard lions calling somewhere where we had the elephants yesterday, and the elephants did start trumpeting about 5-10 minutes after that. So it could be those elephants did find the cats, and maybe we were a hair's breadth away from those lions. And you can see not a cloud in the sky. And let's hope it stays like that. I'm certainly enjoying having these beautiful clear mornings at the moment. So let's see if we can get lucky. Maybe those lions made an appearance last night on the camera. I don't think those lions will be around here, but at least if we can find the tracks, that might be handy. So if anybody did happen to see the lions or the leopard, please let me know. I think these leopard tracks were a few hours old, but it could be, even if they are a few hours old, it could be that the leopard decided to sit down here and take it easy for an hour or so. Or it may have carried on. I'm just going to try and see if we can pick up any tracks here. The last track was just back there. We did bump into a hyena, and it looks like it's on its way to see the quarantine mail again. I think it was our youngster from yesterday. So we're definitely going to have a quick check-in on him. Doesn't tend to register too well there. And if you're new to the safaris and you'd like to ask any questions while we're driving around on our live safari this morning, then send your questions through to Final Control at questions@wildearth.tv, or you can send them through onto Twitter, #SafariLive. Now, I've lost where these tracks have gone. It could have been that they've gone straight. Got hyena going that way. Like just hyena. So I think the down wall is our best bet. Just check on this sandy patch here. Let's make sure it hasn't come this way. Oh, it has. Straight. Nothing else as yet. I'm quite keen to see where those lions were as well. So let's go over the wall and just see if we can't pick up any lion tracks. But if we've got a time frame, if you guys even just heard them, if we can get a time frame of when that was, the last call. It doesn't look over the wall. was difficult to say for sure where those calls were coming from, but it sounded like in the drainage line here somewhere. And it sounded like the elephants trumpeting were also around this area. Unless they've got a kill, they probably wouldn't still, but it's worth just checking. There's some nice sandy areas down here. Oh, we have the Egyptian geese family. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6 still. That's really cool. Just making sure I wasn't including an adult there. You can just about see the difference between the adult and the chicks. The adults have got that very bright plumage, whereas the chicks are missing quite a lot of white. Very quiet this morning. They're usually quite a good indication if something is around. They're usually quite noisy. You get the honking and the whistling. So if they hear anything, I'm sure they'll let us know. Or see anything. Okay, well, let's see if there's any tracks this side of the dam. It's also a nice spot for cats to lie, just in this overflow. Okay, so we do have A tracks going this way. We don't have much in the way of the cat tracks. And if there's no tracks coming out, then it might be worth us maybe seeing if we can get into the drainage line. It could suggest that they've actually got something down there. See, there was a 2-track heading in there. So I think we'll have a quick search while it's still quite cool, if those lines are moving around, or even the leopard if it's walking parallel to where we are now. I think it's worth us trying to follow up on that. And then we'll head around and see if the quarantine male is still there. I don't think there was much left of his kill, so I'm not convinced he will still be around, but you never know, he might still be sleeping it off. And the sun's actually in the perfect position now for tracking. See all the ridges. And it just helps to show up the tracks just that little bit better. And as the sun starts to climb, it's actually more difficult to track. And once the sun's right overhead, it's extremely difficult. It's still possible, but it just makes life a little bit difficult. Get out of here. Why is it flies have this tendency to want to fly into here? Okay, still nothing here. Interesting. We haven't heard any more lion calls. I was sleeping like a log last night, so I think the lions could have roared outside my window and I wouldn't have heard it. Yeah, elephants went this way. They've demolished a lot of the tracks. Now the reason why animals do actually call at night, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, or last thing in the afternoon, is because the air is settled and the sound carries a lot further. So for advertising territory, it will reach a lot more animals' ears than if they did it during the day. So you don't tend to hear the lions calling unless they're trying to contact each other during the day. So I wonder if anybody has got a bit of information for us from the dam. If they saw anything on the camera. Any activity last night, just after the lions were calling. I think it was about 9 o'clock we heard them. Is it about 9? Yeah, it's about 9:15, something like that. Ah, thanks Diane, appreciate that. Diane was saying that there's a lot of angry elephants crawling around the dam about 3:30, so I wonder maybe they haven't caught something in here. So I'm not picking up any tracks here at all, but it could well have been that they've moved through the drainage line as well. So I think we'll go through Weaver's Nest and we'll come out the other side, and if we still don't have anything, we'll see if we can maybe just find a way into the drainage line at the top here and just have a look around. Because yeah, I'm not getting anything here. It's a little bit of a difficult substrate this, but there's one or two patches of sandy areas which are good for registering the tracks. But it could well have been the elephant tracks that are obliterated. Any cat tracks, but we should still see something along here if they have walked along here. I'm not getting anything on this side of the road. We've got elephant tracks this side. fairly fresh. They might still be around. They build a full web when they're younger, but you might just be able to work out that golden tint to the web, which is where they get the name from. This is the banded-legged golden orb. They have the orange bands over the leg. Okay, I'm going to see if I can go to the right. Depends on where she's actually anchored it to. It's anchored down the bottom. No, she hasn't. She just anchored it from the top. There we go. You should be able to see the bands on the legs nicely there as we drive past them. She is actually quite a pretty spider. Yay, we made it! She obviously built it just after the elephant came through. But I'm getting different elephant tracks here, so I think our big Ellie must have moved off just before the web. Welcome on board, Bob from Iowa. Good to hear from you this morning, Bob. Oh no, here he is again. Oh yeah, he went off and came back on again. And Bob from Iowa would like to know, do they count the elephants at Juma or Kruger? And they do try and do an animal census. And I forget how often they do it. I think it's once a year. But animal census, they'll do it in different methods. What is normal? Oh, we've got some tracks here. Who's this here? We need to have a look. Cat tracks. It's worth me having a look. Let's jump out and have a quick look, see what we've got here, because we're just close to that junction. But yeah, what they'll do is they'll take transits through the park, and this is kind of a standard procedure for trying to count animals on a reserve. So you can either take transits, so you'll take certain routes, and you literally will count what animals you see. And you can obviously work out for yourselves. It's not always accurate, but they do put some maths behind it to try and account for the fact that you might not see all of the individuals in that particular herd, and also individuals that don't go to the row, that they stay far back in the bush. So they do a lot of mathematics, so that's quite a normal way to do things. With Kruger, it's actually quite a large park, so they might use the helicopters like some places do, and they might actually just assist, again, counting from the air the groups of animals and how many roughly in the herds. But it is a difficult one to try and do a census of the animals. But let's say they do it. I don't know what their figures are at the moment for Kruger. Maybe someone can check it out for us. Because remember, the Sabi Sands is actually just to the southwest of the Kruger itself, and it does fall under the Greater Kruger National Park. So there's no fences between the Sabi Sands and Kruger. The Kruger actually lies just a few kilometers just to the east here. So if we carried on straight, we would hit Kruger right now in about 10 minutes time, something like that. So we're very close to the Kruger boundary, and that's why, as I say, animals can come and go as freely as they want. And we do get the pack of wild dogs that they often find at open gates. They come through here, and as I say, elephants as well. That's why Mark might see the elephants that we get down here in the Timbavati, because they can travel over long distances if they want to. So there is any potential to see anything, and that's what makes it so wonderful. We just don't know what's around the next corner. So I'm just going to jump out and have a quick look at the spoor here, see what might be around, and then we'll get back on our trail. But I'm thinking the more I'm seeing, or the less that I'm seeing tracks, the more I'm thinking there could be a cat in the drainage line still. It is an interesting. But it's the toe of somebody. Bush fax machine. Calling his little heart out. Little rattling sister cola. Linda and Carol, both in California, both sending through the same question. And there was little jennet tracks going in that direction. But yeah, somebody's track, very odd track. I think it might have been the toe of somebody. It was such an odd track. It's a little bit difficult to make out. But both wanting to know how long it takes for a spider to spin a web like that. And I've never actually sat and watched, because they tend to spin them just before dawn by the looks of it. But it's one of those things, it's always made before you actually get a chance to see them spin it. But I would guess roughly an hour or so, because it's not something they have to learn, it's all instinct, so they just go about it. The most difficult bit is obviously anchoring it. Once they've got the anchors, it's fine. And you can see those two strands that she was actually climbing up, so she anchored it from the top of quite a tall bush, and it came down. I think she must have anchored it from the central reservation up, and sometimes they actually have it at more of an angle and it's on the other side. And that's when you can't avoid destroying it, and then you have it on the other side. But obviously if you destroy it, it's going to take them maybe an hour or so to rebuild it, and obviously they'll not be able to catch anything. You can see there's some webs here as well. See, maybe that golden kind of shimmering, maybe light behind. But it really is beautiful. And I know a lot of people don't like spiders, but you can't deny the beauty of a spider web. And as I say, the actual owner of the web itself is just beautiful as well. You can maybe work out, there you go. Very, very strong silk as well. Some of the strongest amongst all the spiders. We actually get the black-legged golden orb where I'm doing my research. And their silk is also that golden colour. And a lot of people wonder how a spider doesn't get stuck to its own web. And not every part of the web will be sticky. There'll be certain strands and sections, and she'll actually have hooked feet. So she can just hook onto the web, and she can hook around the strands that aren't sticky. And when a male wants to mate, now these are all females, the males are tiny in comparison, and they often live on the web. And when a male actually wants to mate, he has to pluck the strings of the web. And apparently, if he doesn't get it right, she thinks it's food. So it's almost like he strums a song to her. So he has to make sure it's the right one. Otherwise, she thinks it's food, and she will catch him and eat him. So risky business. Now, if I remember rightly, they're dewdrop spiders. They actually do look like a little dewdrop. Tiny, they're silver in colour, and they tend to be on the side of the web. But I haven't seen any as we've been driving around. But they are tiny, and you do have to study it quite well. So banded-legged golden orb spider, quite a mouthful. Oh, okay. Apparently, So, just getting a little bit of information through from Andrew there. So, yeah, roughly about an hour. Thanks, Andrew. And remember, not all spiders will spin a web, but all spiders have the capability of producing silk. That's one of the characteristics that makes a spider a spider. I think we're going to be heading into the drainage line, folks. Jeffrey in Texas, welcome on board. Is there any animals out here that I don't like? Yeah, I think probably the parasites. Leeches. Ugh, I don't like leeches. I won't go to the water. I was in Sumatra once, and actually they were doing surveys on tigers using very primitive camera traps, and I find it highly amusing that 15 years later I'm doing the same thing with the leopards out here in South Africa. But I was lucky enough to go to the Sumatran Tiger Trust and see what they were doing. And we were walking along the game trail where tigers would also walk. And we stopped there. My word, if you stop there long enough, you just see the leeches just come from nowhere, kind of just doing this. Moving towards you like film. I call them vampire hitchhikers in my report, my write-up from my university degree, and they literally are vampire hitchhikers. I mean, obviously they have their place in the world, but I was convinced I was having them stuck to my leg, and I could feel one under my foot, and when I took my boot off, it wasn't there. But there was all these other oaks, and I had jungle formula, it was really good from one of the chemists in the UK, And I think they still do it, and if you do go to places like this or to the jungle, it's very, very good. It stops anything getting to you. And I had this all over my foot and all over my boot, and they gave me some spray as well. And I think they put it on their boots, but they didn't seem to put it on their legs. Maybe because it was very strong. And they had like knee-high boots, army boots, and they'd take them off when we rested. And they'd just be covered in leeches inside. Oh dear, that's one animal I'd be quite happy if I never get to see. But obviously they do have their place, and as I say, medically they have been used to reduce ear swellings, I seem to remember, and they've put the leeches on your ear. They'll drink the blood to try and reduce what's called cauliflower ear. I think the boxers and some rugby players get it. But, yeah, that'll be one of them. Ticks. I'm not a great lover of ticks, but it's part of the bush. But I wouldn't say there's anything I can think about that I really hate. I mean, it's nature. You've got to take the good with the bad. Get leeches in the dams and pans. That's another reason why I wouldn't go and join the buffalo and the hippo in the pans and the dams. There's another reason why I have gone around the block as well, just in case we come across that leopard. Hi, Gwendolyn. From South California. Good morning to you, Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn's saying cat litter can have multiple fathers. Does this happen with the larger cats? And it can be possible. Just see, we've just got lines on the brain. Elephant tracks coming through. But Gwendolyn, it can be possible. There's nothing to say, and this is why we can never be 100% sure who the father is of the cubs. Because with a leopard and a lion, it can take several days for that mating process. They can mate every 15-20 minutes. And they'll go for, oh, bushbuck. If he's going to settle. Just around the bush there. There we go. Male bushbuck. Now bushbuck, that's what the quarantine male managed to catch. We're not sure if it was a male or female. Possibly a female by the look of the small bit of rump that I saw, but difficult to tell. As they get older, the males do get darker. He's probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. But yeah, as I say, it can go on for anywhere between 3 and 5 days sometimes, but three's the norm. And within that period, there may be another rival male. Especially with the leopard, there could be a rival male that fights for the right to mate. And with the cats, the larger cats especially, they have barbs on the penis, and it's quite painful for females, and that's why quite often they'll turn around and swipe at the male. But it's the barbs on the penis that actually help to stimulate the eggs. So the females won't release the eggs until they've mated a few times, and it's that stimulation to release the eggs, and then they'll be fertilized. But what is interesting, so we don't know if they can have multiple fathers within the litter, but there is a possibility they can have multiple partners. So maybe there is a possibility that they can be fertilized by a couple of different males. But what they have found in cheetah is this is true. They have found that the cubs can be from different fathers, and they think possibly it's to do with the fact that the cheetahs are so closely related. They are almost trying to expand the gene pool by having multiple partners, so that the genetics does increase slightly, the gene pool, because they went through a natural bottleneck about 10,000 years ago. So there's a lot of individuals that died, and that's why nowadays the cheetahs are so closely related to each other, so they're very vulnerable to disease. And if one gets it in there, oh, there's a chegra, you can land. No, but it's him that's calling. Black crown chegra. So yeah, so it could be that nature's way of trying to increase. So it could be nature's way of increasing the gene pool for the cheetahs. Maybe, in a way, try and stop all of the cubs succumbing to a disease. Ah, we got a buffalo. Yeah, Mr. Buffalo. Oh, we got a few buffalo. How many buffalo can you fit in Cheddar Pan? We'll find out. Oh, not as many buffalo as I thought. Hi Tammy, welcome on board this morning. And Tammy is saying that hummingbirds that side use spiderweb to build their nests. Is there any birds this side? And there are. The paradise flycatcher and the chin spot battis, they'll quite often use spiderweb. The helmeted shrikes also use spiderweb, and in particular the golden orb does get used because it is so strong. And there's plenty of golden orbs around. Yeah. It looks very unimpressive. I can see 4 Duggar boys in here. They're buffalo males. And we've got the red-billed oxpeckers ever present. Now they would have most likely have roosted in a tree at night, just because there's plenty of trees around and there's plenty of animals, and all they have to do is fly out and see who's close by and land on them for the day. And they'll quite often just ride on the backs, and they'll go and drink when the animal goes to drink. And it looks like there is a chick sitting on the back there. You can see the bill's not as brightly coloured. Yeah. You got left behind, buddy. Now quite often chicks will be paler than the adults, just so it stops any males attacking them, thinking that they're, especially if it's male fledglings, so the males will attack them thinking that that they're rival males, and they won't attack them or try and mate with them thinking that they're females, that they're sexually mature. So that's why the chicks of birds do tend to be much paler in colour, or they tend to not have the colours at all that are associated with that particular bird. And usually when they come into breeding season, the colours, especially of the male, will become a lot bolder than what they are in winter, and that's just to show how fit they are. So the colours become much brighter. There's a menacing look about him, this one, don't you? Me? No. Today. Just an update. Unfortunately, I have heard some sad news that Tandy's cub, who we know as Shadow, unfortunately the cub was found at the hyena den just off of Cheetah Cut Line. It's actually between Cheetah Cut Line and Leadwood Road. And it was seen a couple of days ago, apparently. Well, it'd be about 3 days ago now. And unfortunately, the cub, they don't know what killed it, whether it was hyenas or something else, and the hyenas just took the cub to the den, but that's where it was found. And it was identified as Tandy's cub. Move on. But it sounded like the carcass was fairly old. Hi, Peggy. Wow, I haven't heard those names in a while. Peggy wants to know if we've seen the Judge or Seesaw. Yeah. There was particular buffalo bulls. The Judge actually missed that section of the horn, so he was only left with the boss. So that's why he got nicknamed the Judge. And Seesaw had monkey horns. And have we seen them? I haven't seen them as yet, Peggy. It's been obviously 3 years. He may not have lasted that long, but you never know. Depends on how old he was when we first saw him. Well, the pair of them. I think Seesaw, I seem to remember, was a lot younger. Seesaw might be around. So just in case we lose you here. So yeah, so we've got to wait for the females to pass through here. I haven't heard of any large buffalo herds coming through. What's the vegetation that's on offer around those areas? Still not seeing any movement out of this block here. So I think it is worth us investigating just in this top end. Just seeing if we can't find anything in there. Just seeing if we're going to pick up any more leopard tracks here. Again, it's not as nice and sandy as it was on the central side. of this drainage line. Joanne, welcome on board this morning. And Joanne was wanting to know how old the cub was that was found. And I'm actually not sure, maybe one of the viewers can help me out with the age of Tandy's cubs, how old they were at this stage. Because we've just been back for the week, I'm still out the loop on some of the animals who we don't really see. We don't see gorillas, girls this side very often. But Tandy, or Shadow as we know her, tends to operate down towards Cheetah Plains area. But unfortunately, as I say, it is sad whenever you hear about a baby carnivore dying. But as I say, if all the carnivores do survive, they're just going to eat too many of the herbivores. And remember, they are going to eat baby herbivores as well. So unfortunately, it is part of nature. It does happen. It's never nice, but unfortunately baby animals are vulnerable, and that's why the mortality is so high, because they are vulnerable. They're much smaller than everything else, and they're going to be more susceptible to any predator. So even jackal, if they came across a baby hyena or a baby leopard, they have the potential to actually kill them, because it's something to eat. It's something small. Snakes as well. They take cubs. Even mongoose. If a white-tailed mongoose actually came across a baby leopard, there's no reason why it wouldn't kill it and eat it. It's not the norm, but it could happen. And obviously disease as well. They are prone to disease because obviously the antibodies haven't had a chance to be built up. Got one track. Adding garlic down. this morning. Sorry about that, folks. There was just a bit of dating on the radio, and it was just very quiet. So I just wanted to see. It sounded like there might have been something moving our way, but unfortunately not. It sounds like there's 2 male lions north of here. That could be the Matimbas. But we've just got one track going in here. There's just a couple of clues that it looked like from our leopard. See if there is actually a way just to poke our noses in, but we might just have to go in from this side. Have you been into the Strange Line, Mark? Do you know, is there an easier way to get in there? It is around that side. Because I think it's worth us checking just this little bit here, because I've been around, I haven't got any big cat tracks coming out. Now it could be the elephants destroyed some of it on the central, that side. But having the calls still here, we had the call about 9:15, and someone, I think it was Diane, said that there was calling about 3:30. They could still have something in here, they could have a kill. Maybe that's why they're here. So I think it's worth us just checking in on that. And as I say, if we don't come right, we'll see if we can head around to check out that area where the quarantine male was. I'm not holding out any hope that he's still there. Well, I suppose I am, because I'm still going to go and have a look, but there is a very good possibility that he has actually left. There isn't anything to keep him there now. There was a little bit of carcass left. So you're saying from the other side of the wall? Yeah. Okay. Because we used to be able to get in here, but obviously that is going to be a problem. I say there's a couple of places where we used to get in, and it's not going to be possible now. But if there's already a bit of a 2-track, then I'd rather go in on that. But we should be seeing something of them coming out. We should be. Okay, so some people saying there was a male leopard being called Tandy, so that's why Tandy got changed to Shadow. And it was, I think it was Tingana that was, we knew her as Saseka, but the guides told me Tandy, Tandy's cub. So I think the guides are still calling who we know as Shadow Tandy. I might get myself mixed up. It could be Saseka. Let me just check. I say it's been 3 years, so maybe that's where this confusion's coming in. little book. Sorry, it is Saseka. Sorry, Tingana's shadow. My apologies, everybody. It is Saseka. Tandy is Saseka. So it's who we know as Saseka who had a cub. I thought I had it straight in my head again for you. So the guides are saying Tandy. The guides. Okay, was it somewhere around here we can get in? Whereabouts is the area you went to?
It's coming up.
Oh, it's coming up. Okay, cool. In here? Yeah. Okay, let's go explore. So there has been a little 2-track made here. But everything is saying that they haven't moved from this spot, so as I say, I may have missed something, but with the elephants trumpeting as well on a couple of occasions. I think it is worth just wanting to look. You can hear the southern bobo calling. So yeah, my apologies everybody. Getting everybody worked up with the wrong leopards. That's why there was a bit of confusion. So Saseka, who we know as Saseka. So if we can get in there and just drive up, we can maybe hit it lucky. There's another 2-track leading out there. Could be going on to the other side. So we'll try and see if we can drive up as far as we can here, and then maybe take that 2-track and see if we can do the other side of the Milwati. So we're actually in the Milwati riverbed, the other side of Gowrie Dam. And just seeing if there are any lions around here. As I say, with the elephants calling, we did hear them, the lions calling about 9:15. And I forget, it was actually the elephants that were calling about 3:30, trumpeting and being quite upset. Ooh, emerald spotted wood duck just on the sand there. But there is a good possibility that those cats haven't left here, and it could be because they've got a kill, so I think it is worth checking out. You can see the 2 spots on the wing, but they're not going to show up green until the bird gets into the sunlight. And they're metallic, and it's just stunning. And I think emerald spotted is probably
the best description. It used to be called the green spotted, but emeralds, it really is like an emerald green. It's stunning. And as they fly away, they have the rusty red colour under the wings. Quite a small dove, for about 2/3 the size of a Cape turtle dove. And we've got the two southern bobos calling, and there was one calling and the other one was replying. That's the pair. That one. They do have numerous calls, the southern bobo. I'll show you quickly what it looks like. So the emerald spotted wood dove is the one you can get mixed up for the Birchall's coo call with the call. Oh, it's so peaceful down here. And it's this guy here, so this is the southern bobo. Got quite a vertical stance. That is the southern bobo, that's the bird that was just calling. And we have male and female calling back to each other. Okay. Convinced we're going to be able to get too much further here, but there's a little track here, so let's just get up on slightly higher ground here. It was a little bit further up we had the elephants trumpeting, and it sounds like it was the same place last night as well. The leopard track came in maybe somewhere just down there at an angle. I'm just checking out any of the tall tamborti trees. Just in case I come across that leopard as well. So we'll have to see how far we do get. There's the bobo again. So it's getting a bit thick here. Get through there. We might have to take that other two track and go further around again. So I think it's about there. That's where we had the elephants calling yesterday. Can't smell anything. Yeah, I'll try up and over again. I think it was further back that way, wasn't it? And then coming up. I thought we could maybe get in here. There should be a leopard sitting in that tree. It's a nice tree. But I'm not getting any smell of a carcass, and the wind's not blowing too much down here. Should be okay to drive over that. I was hoping we could get a little bit further up the drainage line towards the wall, which is where I thought the lines might have been. But unfortunately that doesn't look like. Okay, so we're going to try and make a way out this side. That's if it's possible, otherwise we'll have to turn around and make a way out from where we came in. Thought we might be able to sneak through here, but there's a big tree in the way. Okay, well we'll turn around. Make a way back out. But worth a try. It could have been they were just lying down here. Oh, do I have room just to swing around there? Cool. You can see how wide the riverbed is here though. I mean, we're still actually in the riverbed. We haven't got out the riverbed just yet. Oh, I really thought we'd have some luck down here. Oh well, that's the way it goes, I suppose. It's very quiet down here. No alarm calls, no birds saying anything. do is just see if we can drive back along there, just poke our nose in just a little bit, because I'd still like to see what's that side of the drainage line, if it's possible. Welcome back, everybody. And I'm just trying to remember where the 2-track went. I thought it went round there. No, maybe it goes straight. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just trying to work it. So if we went in there, I think we got as far as probably about there. That is where we did have those elephants. So I'm just going to see if there's another opening that we can just poke our nose in over the top of the drainage line here. Be a little bit too thick along here. Hi, Mel. Actually, this is not going to be a good viewing point as I thought. Welcome on board to you this morning. Mel would like to know, she knows the visual is very important for locating animals, but how important is the smell? And actually, the smell is pretty important as well, because sometimes you can just get the whiff of the carcass, and that can help you locate an animal. The bull Ellie that's been in Must, we've been smelling him quite a lot. He's actually been around camp quite a bit. And actually, just after we closed down yesterday, we were coming through the dip, which is where we're going to be heading now. We're going to start heading towards that side. But we came through the dip and I could smell the Ellie bull in Must. And I thought, oh, I wonder if he's around. And I was expecting him to be fairly close, and then we came around the corner actually on Vigar Road, which was quite a distance actually. Came around the corner and there he was. So I was like, oh, there you are. And he went, oh, yeah. But again, it just went to show, or goes to show how chilled any bull in Must he actually is. And again, I just reversed back a little bit, because he was actually walking on a Vigar Road, and I reversed back. And then he just carried on along the road. Didn't give us the time, didn't stop and look at us, barely gave us the time of day. I'm hoping we should be able to just see what's going on over the lip of the drainage line here. And yeah, you can smell waterbuck, and you can smell the popcorn smell of territorial marking by the leopards. The curry, the mambas actually smell of curry. And spitting cobras also, the smell of curry, but it doesn't last as long as the mambas do. So smell is actually quite important in the bush as well, even though we've not really got a great sense of smell. It can still help. I'm not seeing anything in there either. It's not one of ours, is it? I don't think so. I think it's the cap of the... Just happened to see in the road. I thought it might have been a nut. But it's not. I think it's just the cap of a nut. Elephants as well, you can smell elephants. Not even being in must. If you get that strong, sweet smell from the dung, it's nice and fresh. Hyena pasting, that's another one I tend to smell. That one I seem to be able to pick up extremely well, and apparently women aren't supposed to be able to smell it as well as guys. But that one I can pick up from a brown hyena, a good 5 or 6 meters away. I really wish I couldn't. It's not the world's greatest smell. We had the little birds in here. There were little blue wax bills. I was going to stop and show you, but they've flown off that side. Okay, so we're leaving our search. Unfortunately, it's come to a dead end. But it could be that they are still in there and they're just lying down and I just can't get to see them. But it's very thick as we get closer towards that wall. What's going on there? Birds in the tree here. Some grey lories, 11's cuckoos. There's 1 or 2 in there. Not sure. Yeah, you should be able to see it. It's actually just to the left of the trunk on the furthest left. I've got a lot to say. That was the Netherlands or striped cuckoo. Not heard them make that call before. So I'll try and pull back and just see if they're calling about something. They've moved from tree to tree, so I don't think it's a snake. Could be there's a bit of a dispute going on. There's quite a number of birds involved. They are a little bit too far back. They have died down now. And of course, the olfactory is what it's called, way of communicating through smell, is very important to animals, territorial markings. The pasting that I was talking about, that gets left behind by the brown hyenas, the spotted hyenas do also paste, but it doesn't smell like the brown hyenas do. I've even seen spotted hyenas paste. I haven't been able to smell anything. But the scent that gets left behind can tell other animals, other individuals of the same species, who's left the mark, the reproductive status, so if they're ready to mate or not, which family they belong to. There is so much information that's left behind through pasting, and the smell can also be left within the dung. That can also be a visual territorial marker. The urine as well, just like your cats spray at home, cats out here do it as well. And the glands on the side of a cat's face, you'll often see them rubbing on the rock, or even in bushes, seeing the leopards rub their cheek glands on the bush. We've been watching the dwarf mongoose recently, also rubbing its cheek gland on the bush, on a branch. So the scent communication is very important in the animal world. And even as humans, we do use scent. If you smell food, it actually gets your taste buds going, and that is to allow your body to actually prepare for the food. And producing the saliva. The saliva obviously helps to break down the food, so it's getting all your juices in your stomach going as well. They're going to be released, so it's to prepare your body. And actually, if you can smell your food, you tend to be able to taste it better than if you can't smell your food. It's all linked. I saw quite a nice bird. There he is, right in the top of the tree. Oh, he's bobbing around too much, I think. Can you get him? No, I think you need to go higher, but I think he's just gonna... Oh, you're on him? Ah, okay, cool. Oh yeah, there he is, well done. But we're lower down. Crested barbets. There you go, you might see him nicely there with the bright yellow face and the red, all splashed all over the body. Quite a pretty bird, quite a large bird as well. And once you know it, it's very difficult to mix up with anything else. And quite often I've seen them next to termite mounds eating the termites that might be out and about. And that's the birch horse cuckoo calling in the background. Signaling the rain is on its way at some stage. Could be in the next few minutes, it could be in the next few hours, it could be in the next couple of days. Very cool. Crested barbet. Hi, Sally in Wisconsin. Welcome on board this morning. And Sally would like to know, what is hyena pasting? It's actually an anal secretion. Although some pastings from, especially like the antelope, the klipspringer I have mentioned on drive before, it's a dwarf antelope, it stands about that sort of height. And they have a gland in front of the eye, and it's called a preorbital gland, and it's a very black mark. And they also secrete a paste from that gland, and it does smell, if you get it very fresh, it does smell. But most of the carnivores, their pastings come from the anal glands. And apparently the African civet anal pasting has been used to bind perfume smell, so it's a combining agent. How on earth they came up with that in the first place, I don't know. What made them think, oh, we need a binding agent? I know, let's use the civet paste. I just don't understand where that connection came from. But, sorry, not the African civet, I think it's the palm civet they use. But, yeah, civet anal pasting. Let's just use it in perfume as a binding agent. The African civet is different to the African palm civet. African civet's the black and white. There, keep going. Sorry, who are you from Chicago? Can you send the name through? I kept missing it. Sid! Hi, Sid. Sid from Chicago. What's the chances we're going to make it back? Ooh. Looks like somebody else had the same idea as me. Ah, he is still there. Affirmative if there's space. Affirmative if there's space. Okay, so the vehicle who the same idea as me said that he just arrived, I think, a few minutes ago, and he did see the quarantine mail. So it's gone down the drainage line a little bit. So what are the chances of us making it back alive to base camp? I don't know, 50-50? Morning. Good morning. Sorry, my radio is messing around a little bit. So can you still see him? Oh, nice. Oh, very cool. Okay. Okay, did you see any spotted hyenas? Because there was one heading this way this morning. Okay. Because we had the two youngsters here yesterday, and they managed to steal a little bit. It was a bushbuck. It was in this tree here. There was a little bit left yesterday, but I'll see if I can just maybe pull forward and just have a look. Because it wasn't easy to see. But he dropped a couple of legs. Yeah, he was in that Tamborti. Yeah.
Which male leopard is this, do you know?
The quarantine male.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you ID it?
He's got a triangle of spots, and the wide part comes out from the eye and goes to the point at the back of the eye, and then he's got a triangle underneath both eyes, and he's got quite pale eyes as well. So, but as I say, I'm still getting used to their features. I've only been back for a week, so.
Have you just a week?
Yeah, just a week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I've got.
I'm Brennan, and that's my wife Barbara.
Hi.
That's my son Sean.
Hi.
And these are friends.
Oh, good. So you're having good drives then?
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well we'll pull forward and just see if we can see if the rest of the kill's there. So you guys have been hearing a lot on the radio. No. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that'd be great, yeah. I'd say it was very quiet this morning. I was barely hearing anybody. It's like, huh? No, we don't. Just around Juma here. But yeah, I'll just see if we can see that bit of carcass. It was up through there. Just see if there was anything left. Yeah, I don't think there is anything there. I think it's all gone. Nah. Yeah, I think it's all gone. So it was up in that branch there. I'm not seeing anything. But I think maybe it's because there's a couple of legs that fell down, and that might have been balancing the carcass. So no one around here. So apparently the vehicle did see him around here. Apparently it was just out in the open here. And then he went down into the drainage line here. I'm just going to maybe put, there's a little bit of a flat spot here, so I'm just going to pull in there and just see if we can't look down. Not seeing any movements. And apparently no sign of the spotted hyenas either. So maybe we can broaden our search and maybe head down Central Road. Let's say it could be he's going to stick around this area and wait it out. Oh, thank you. Let's say I couldn't see anything left. I think he did lose a couple of legs yesterday, and that might have tipped the rest out. So, or he might have finished it.
Maybe it's lying down there, maybe the hyenas could take it.
Yeah, they could well have done. Oh well. Oh, I don't know, eh?
Gives it character.
Yeah. Cool, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, well, I think we'll drive along Central, see if we get lucky with any more tracks. So, at least we do know that he's still in the area, but so it could be that he's still digesting the bushbuck, which probably will be for the next day or so. So he might be lying somewhere nicely in the shade now. So the vehicle said that they saw him for about 5 minutes. So he might stick around the area, or he might move, but if his belly is still nice and extended, chances are he is going to stay in the area. And he's got the water there as well on tap. But we'll make another swing by there this afternoon and just see what the story is. But as I say, I'm pretty sure the rest of the carcass has gone. So it could have either been him eating it, or because there wasn't any legs to keep it from falling out, it might have just slipped out the tree. Remember, there was a couple of legs that did fall yesterday from it. Cool, so we'll go towards Central and Buffalosuck Dam, I think. See if there's anything happening around there. Maybe we can make a swing by the hyena den again. So for those of you who weren't able to join us yesterday, we did come across a female hyena with 2 cubs at that den on Cheetahcook Line, between Cheetahcook Line and Leadwood Road. And it was the den that young cub was found at, the leopard cub. Carcass of the leopard cub. But we didn't see anything yesterday. There are 2 little hyena cubs there. It isn't Entenvallen, it's not her mum. The hyena apparently was seen, what was the name of the cub that you saw her with? Doppendula. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Okay, Doppendula. So there was a female when you guys did see Doppendula, and she was heavily pregnant, and it was towards the end of November. And everyone's saying that it's the same mum who we saw yesterday. So she gave birth, and she's got 2 cubs. It's possible that it's one female and one male, because the one definitely seemed more boisterous than the other one, and quite a lot more pushy than the other one, which is very characteristic of a female hyena. The males tend to be submissive. heading back down on Ruby Road. We're going to connect with Central again. And just as we get out of the dip here, I have your first who dung it for the day. I picked it up a while ago. Ah! Brian just spotted an elephant other side of the dam, you say? Awesome. In that case, we shall go and join the elephant, and then I'll give you the who dung it. And then we'll join Central again. Because something is pulling me towards Central still. So we shall see. I'm still not seeing this elephant. A bit close to the Voyatella side. Ah, there it is. Yes, I see elephant. This could be our Ellie bull in must. It's a big boy, and I did smell him first thing this morning again. So he has been out and about. Yeah, whoever's zoomy today, keep your ears open for any alarm calls. There's the Egyptian geese again. What are you guys doing over here? You were over there when we left you. Oh, and there's the hippo. I was wondering where he was. We haven't seen him for a day or so. Wondered if he was still around. No, that's a different Ellie bull completely. He's got one tusk. So there won't be a crocodile in the dam as yet then, because we still have 6 goslings. Good to see. And you can see the parents were keeping a very close eye on their goslings. But I tell you something, that bull is walking with attitude. He really is walking with attitude. Look at that. You see him picking up his trunk there, smelling something. One glove, Gary Dan. I wonder if he's going to come down to the waterhole to drink. It looks like he might come down to drink. And I think we're actually in quite a good position to see him drink if he is. But yeah, you can see he's missing his right tusk. Andrew, come in. Any idea on those? Oh, it was the Matilda. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, affirmative, it might well be. So, just to let you know, it is the Matimbas that have been found up in Buffelshoek. They have found each other again, the two Matimbas. And it always amazes me, actually, how little water that they can actually hold anywhere in the region between 10 and 20 litres in the trunk, especially for a large bull. But they must only squirt about a third of what they take into the trunk. You can see he's actually wasting quite a bit. That one, obviously, he squirted a lot more in. Now, it could well be that there's a lot of dust and dirt in that water, so he's actually spitting that out. And you can see he's actually just siphoning off the top layer of the water, because they're very particular about what they drink, and they prefer the clean water. See, even then. Yeah. Hi, Calvin in Boston. What is the word for elephant that's used on the radio? And glove is probably used in most of the languages. Remember, South Africa has 11 official languages. So Shangaan is spoken mostly around this area, and we're using Ndlovu. And sometimes you will hear families being named after animals in the area. Chantal from Montreal. Good morning to you and welcome on board this morning. And Chantal would like to know if an elephant's tusk has broken off, will it grow back? And the tusk will actually grow from the base, just like our teeth. When the teeth are growing, once the milk teeth have been displaced by the adult teeth grow from the root. And it's the same with the elephants, the tooth will grow from the root. Now, I'm not sure if he ever had a tooth. It doesn't look like there is any leftover part of tusk on that side, so it could be, for whatever reason, maybe genetics, that it never grew, or maybe it was damaged. It could be that it fell out. There's any number of reasons why he might only have the one tusk. But if there is no longer a root there, then it won't grow a new tusk. And if it snaps off as well, if it snaps off at the end, then the tusk would carry on growing. As I say, it grows from the root. But it just depends on why or how he lost the tusk in the first place. If he lost it at all, say if it was never there, then he didn't lose it. But yeah, I was saying that there's families that will have the names of the animals, like and love, or in B. And apparently, if they had areas of land, other families could go onto those of land and go and hunt animals in years gone by for food and for skins and things like that. And I'm talking years and years ago. But apparently on that particular patch of land, only the family with that name could actually hunt that animal. So if they were named and love, the people going onto their patch of land, they weren't allowed to hunt that particular animal. They could hunt it anywhere else, but not on that particular patch of land. I actually thought he might go into the water and have a bit of a swim, but apparently not. Hippo was obviously keeping a very close watch on him. Now they can take in around 100 litres of water in one go, and that'll again be based on an adult elephant. But apparently they can drink up to 200 litres a day. But a bull that's immersed, remember he's going to be dribbling a lot of urine, so... oh, nice. So with them dribbling a lot of urine, they can have anywhere up to 400 litres of water a day. But under normal circumstances, if an elephant drinks more than that, 400 to 600 litres, that means there is something wrong. Because they have to constantly take in the water. And now he's going for a mud bath. You see him squirting mud underneath his chest. And they'll often squirt it over the back as well. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm glad we got to see him. But let's carry on down Central. Something keeps taking me that way. Alright, and a few other people also wanting to know how old that elephant is. And his other tusk was fairly thick. And fairly long. Okay. Wall there. That'll be a problem. Let's remember, some places have changed. So yeah, just putting that together, I'd say he was probably around his mid-30s, maybe early 40s. He didn't have a very deep groove in the side of his head. That groove does get deeper as they get older, so Yeah, I'd say probably mid-30s, somewhere around there. It is based on genetics as well, how wide the tusk get and how long. But it can give you, help to give you a bit of an estimate as well. Yeah, maybe even early 30s, somewhere around there. And Louis from New York, welcome on board, Louis. And Louis wants to know, do they have toenails on the front and back legs or back feet? And yes, they do. They have 4 to 5 toenails, I think 5 on the front and 4 at the back. And that's supposed to be slightly different to the Asian elephant, but apparently that can fluctuate as well. Let's see who is actually in the sky. I'm waiting to see if we can get a nice view of the colours, but it's actually banking into the sun every time. Oh, I'm just struggling to see any detail there, but you can see when it's banking the what we call the primary feathers, the ones that stick out like fingers, and they actually help these large birds that do soar to not stall when they're flying. They actually set up a little current around each one, a bit like an aeroplane's wing, and it helps to keep them in the sky and allows them to fly fairly slow. It's a very important job, but you can see them sticking out at the ends of the wings there, the primary feathers. And they do have the equivalent of a thumb as well. There's 3 little feathers that would be where the thumb was, and they're called the alula, and they also help the bird when they're coming into land, especially. They can open that up and allow them to still slow down and not stall. Speaking of aeroplanes, it's the first one I've seen in a long while over the sands. Unfortunately, it's going to have to remain a mystery, that one. Can't quite see who that was. Hi, Deborah in Tennessee. Welcome on board this morning. Deborah would like to know, does an elephant taste in its trunk or in its mouth? And its taste buds are in its mouth. It does have quite a thick tongue. But its sense of smell is extremely good. It's among the best in the animal kingdom. Even better than dogs. So they'll be able to smell. And again, the smell and the taste are kind of interchangeable because it is chemical. So you do use the chemical receptors in your nose and in your tongue. So I suppose technically speaking, they could taste with the nose, but not as we think. What we mean by taste. So they do have the taste receptors on the tongue. So I'm going to head towards Bufflesuck Dam. And once again, might just get tracks coming out. And of course we had leopard track going into this drainage line. But keeping a good lookout for him. Hello, Hornbill. Yeah, disappearing. You going to sit there for us? I don't think we're getting a clear view of him there. Can you see him nicely or not really? No. We'll see if we can try and get a nicer view of a hornbill for you. Didn't see him quick enough. Well, he's flown out. You see him better at the top of the tree there? It's still a bit difficult.
I can
Just on that top branch there. Definitely making it difficult. I'm going for some berries this morning. There we go. You can see that bright yellow bill. Interestingly, the true hornbills, like these, or typical hornbills, like the yellow-billed hornbill and the red-billed hornbill, the female will actually lock herself away in a nesting site, and they'll use dung to actually close up her hole. So she will actually be inside, and she'll rely solely on her mate bringing her food, and there'll be a hole small enough to allow the bills access in and out, and that's it. So the female won't come out, the male won't go in. The female will lay her eggs, and in some species she'll actually molt her feathers as well, so that lines the nest, and her feathers will grow back once the chicks are hatched and they are ready to fledge the nest. But once they are quite a lot larger, then she will also go and help find food to help feed the chicks. And we've actually got a family of red hornbills living at camp, and you hear their rattling cries for food. And they'll sit there just like any other chick. They'll sit there, and the parents are actually finding the insects right next to them, but they'll still wait for the parents to feed them. It's so funny, that process. They get taught how to catch food for themselves. So if the male dies, then the female either has to break out of the nest herself, or she will die. But if she's still wingless or still featherless, then she can end up perishing as well as the chicks. We do get ground hornbills here, which are much larger. The ground hornbills, you're looking about that sort of size. Bright red bills. They are endangered due to their vanishing nest sites. For a bird that large, they do need particular trees that are big enough that they can actually have a hole in to support two chicks. And once the chicks are born, one will dominate the other, and unfortunately the parents will actually keep feeding the one, so the other one does actually die. A bit like the eagles as well, do tend to get the one chick favoured by the adults to feed the more dominant one of the two, and the second one often perishes. Okay, so reminds me, actually, I was going to give you a whodunit. Let me get a little bit further. This is where we actually did turn off to do our little lap around, see what was happening. So I picked it up quite a while ago. Hasn't disappeared on me, has it? No, it hasn't. There we are. It's certainly big enough. So here is your whodunit for the day. So it was... Oh, I can hear dwarf mongoose calling off to our left. So it was quite a large round ball, quite dark in colour, but have a look. This vegetation is quite large, not very small at all. So if you want to send in through your answers of who done it, then questions at wildearth.tv or #SafariLive. You can see the size next to my hand, so this is quite a large piece of dung. As I say, lots of large pieces in there. Let's see who comes back with the correct answer. So no other clues apart from that. Let's see how you guys are getting on. I think we'll take Pan Road to Buckleship Dam and then we come back down along Yarna Road. I remember I was saying to you that elephants are very picky about where they drink. But that was... And the riverbeds, we used to have a lot of activity from elephants during the winter time. We'll dig for water and the water will come. There's some holes here actually, I don't know if you can show those holes. So that's where elephants would dig for water in the winter time. You can see some of the holes are fairly deep. That one probably about 30 centimeters, and then there's one that's a little bit more hidden. Yeah, it's not coming up too well unfortunately, but there's that one that's on your screen now, just at the bottom of your screen. That's much deeper, probably a good meter. But they'll use their feet and the trunk to dig away, and they'll be able to feel the water underneath the sand through their feet. So we can pick up vibrations extremely well. As well. But as I say, usually in the summer there's plenty of water around, so it is usually the winter. Oh, a dragonfly. No, we not water, don't go and lay your eggs. So yes, I was just saying about the toes on the elephant, wasn't I? So the Asian elephant is supposed to have 4 and 3 toes, but when they say sometimes they can have 5 and 4 toes, so it seems to change depending on what book you read. But I think that's because they can be different. Yeah, let's see who's been paying attention. What bird is calling? That's... What bird is calling? Questions at wildearth.tv, #SafariLive. Let's see who's been paying attention. I often call it by a nickname. Do you have any answers for the dung? Oh, we've got elephant and buffalo coming through. Close with the elephant, but it was very dark in colour. Remember, elephants eat a lot of bark and they have a lot of tannins which turns it red. And buffalo, the fragments were too big for a hippo. Sorry, for a buffalo. And some people coming through with hippo. Hippo, possibly, but remember, hippos do that with the tail. They actually spread the dung with the tail. So this was still, I was saying, it's in a ball. There's one other animal that obviously people have forgotten about. The blue flower. I don't know if you're going to be able to, you should be able to see it from there, I think. Okay, so we have every other large animal except the owner of the dung. So this one's thrown you guys a little bit. This is the Venus's bath, otherwise known as a commelina, or a wandering Jew. Beautiful flower. And it's called a Venus's bath because if you actually press the base of the flower, you get a drop of liquid. So people still need to come up with the correct answer for who dung it. That one stumped a few people by the sounds of it. But yeah, this little flower, there is a yellow version as well, but it's also found in Asia. So it's quite a widespread flower by the sounds of it. But very pretty. I've just seen a couple around here. It's the first time I've seen or noticed it on drive. So a commelina, Venus's bath. Oh, and we have the white-crowned, southern white-crowned shrike crawling in the tree, the marula tree behind us. I'll move back a little bit for you. Ah! Ah, Georgina! Georgina is the first person to get it right. It is the rhino. Unfortunately, the southern white-crowned shrike flew off. Just as I roll back, just to try and give you a slightly better view of it. So we're just at a slightly odd angle for it, unfortunately. You can get it on the screen. So it was rhino. Rhinos do have round dung and it's very dark, and the white rhino eats grass, so that's why there was all grass in there. There was no leaves. The black rhino, you'd have leaves in there, because that's the difference between the white and the black, is the diet. The white rhino has a very wide mouth and very long head, so that it can get to the grass very easily. So you see quite a huge head, very long, and I say very wide mouth. The black rhino have a much smaller head, and they hold the head up because they're eating the leaves, so there's no reason for them to be able to get down to the grass. But they have a hooked lip, so it's a very narrow lip, and that's how you can tell the difference between the white and the black rhino. Nothing to do with the colour. There's a few stories as to why the white and the black rhino got their names. The most popular one is the white rhino when people met the Afrikaners. They said, what is that animal? And I think it's English speaking, met the Afrikaners, and they said no, it was a wide-mouthed rhino, but it was misinterpreted as white. And then we saw with the black rhino it looked different, and it was obviously a different diet, so the opposite of white is black. That's apparently, well, one of the stories is where they got the name from, but there are some people saying no, that's rubbish. Not possible that happened, but that's probably one of the most popular stories as to where it got the name from. And rhinos do actually use middens, or toilets, and that's used to mark their territory. As we were talking about before, the smell is very important, and the white rhino will actually kick, the males will kick their back legs into the midden and make sure that he's got the scent all over his feet, and as he walks he marks his territory. But unfortunately, due to the high levels of poaching everywhere where there is rhino, and it is a huge problem. Rhinos could become extinct in the wild in the next 4 or 5 years because of it. But we've said that we're not going to show rhino if we see it, just in case poachers could use this information. But as I say, they have a lot of technology to locate. They have eyes on the ground, locating the rhinos. If they go close to fence lines, they'll attack the rhinos from the other side of the fence. And unfortunately, that's why obviously a lot of people are forgetting the rhino, because we're not showing it. But I say there is quite a large population of white rhino in the Greater Kruger. Everybody knows that. Everyone knows that they're here. But to actually pinpoint them, and they would actually use microlights as well to dart them from the air. And they have the ground teams to run in, get off the horn and run out again. And they actually reckoned it took less than 24 hours for the horn to leave the country and get to other countries like Vietnam, where the horn is actually being sold for medicinal purposes. For me, it's so sad. It's actually one of my favourite animals. The rhino is so intelligent, and it's such a humble creature as well. Now this is a creature we haven't seen, and I said I was going to try and show you guys one. Let me see if I can actually get it for you, because he's yeah, he's just in that central part. I'll just see if he doesn't mind being picked up. I'm actually just going to put my hand out, and if it crawls onto it, then it says it's fine, but if not, then I'll leave it. Let me just see if I can't ask him very kindly. Ooh. There we go. Giant African millipede. Just make sure that I don't lose him. I'm going to put him back where I found him, but just to show you, because I say these things you don't really see too well. Can you see the wave of the legs? I'm just trying to see if I can actually get him to walk nicely for you. I can get him on my hand. There we go. Hopefully you should be able to see the legs nicely there. Let me put them on there, I wonder. There we go. Oh, don't go down there. Amazing creatures. Very hard outer shell which protects them. They do contain cyanide in the body, so they're not very palatable to many creatures. But at any one time they'll have 12 pairs of legs touching the ground, but if they're trying to move something big out the way, they'll have up to 52 pairs of legs, and they really can have quite a force behind them. But the giant African millipede, there are a number of different species. You can see the antenna on the front, and he's smelling, using to smell. See if there's any fungus around for him to eat, any rotten vegetable matter, that's what they tend to eat. And as I say, the cyanide, a lot of animals know to keep away from them. That's why they're pretty slow moving. They don't need to worry too much about being eaten. But the thick knees that you guys have been seeing a lot around the dam do tend to eat them. I'm going to go and put him back down now. So they're one of the species that will actually eat these things. No, don't go this way. Go that way. Put him on the right course. Heading back towards the road. So yeah, scorpions will eat them. One of the few mammals that will eat them is the African civet. But very few species will actually eat a millipede. But if they feel threatened, they'll turn over on their backs and they'll squirm. So it makes them look like a snake. If they also feel threatened, they'll actually curl up into a ball. And apparently one of the ways you can actually tell if it's male or female, and I forgot to check, is there's 2 or 3 segments behind the head. I think it's the 3rd segment behind the first segment, which is the head. It has 1 pair of legs to that segment. Now, millipedes usually have 2 pairs of legs per segment. So if it's a male, it only has the 1 pair for that 1 segment. And that can lie, depending on the species, it can lie anywhere between the 3rd and I think up to the 7th segment, depending on the species. So, as I was saying with the rhino, he tends to kick his back legs into his dung. So he has the scent all over his feet, and he walks along the road and marks his territory along the road. Forgotten about that piece of information. If there is a female that wants to mate with a male rhino, she'll go to the toilet in his midden, in his toilet, and then he'll come along, smell that she's been there, and literally puts his nose to the ground and follows where she's gone. And it is the funniest thing to see. They literally turn into little tracker dogs. And if she's walked around a tree, he will walk around a tree. It is brilliant. And he gets very upset if he loses her scent. He gets very upset. So, Garipan. No, Guaripan. That doesn't sound right. Any answers for the bird call? Donna! Well done, Donna, coming back with the correct answer for the bird call. The rattling testicular or cisticola. Depends on how you want to say it. Tomato, tomato. Who sung it? I like it. So that's the new quiz. Who sung it? For the bird calls. I like it a lot. So who sung it and who dung it? You guys have got a wicked sense of humour. I love it. So who dung it and who sung it? Doing well with your bird calls. Very impressed. They're not the easiest thing to learn, I must admit. It takes me a while to learn bird calls. You guys are getting it. Babblers again? Aramot babblers? So it was the rattling cisticola. Ooh, basilia. Very distinctive in the sky. The black and white under the wing, but lack of tail, but I think he's just flying too fast. Oh, well done. See the lack of tail there. I think it's now, or one of its names, although I think there has been a lot of argument against the name. But short-tailed snake eagle is its other name, I think. Magpie's right sitting in the top of the tree as well. Where's the rest of your family, little one? Ah, there's one sitting just below, by the looks of it. Or is that somebody else? Nope, that's the crested barbet. Having a quick preening session. You see him all fluffed up. So that's the crested barbet that we actually couldn't see too clearly first thing. And then we've got the magpie shrike sitting right on top of the tree. I wonder if it's trying to locate the rest of its family. Well, we're almost at the dam, so let's keep going. See who's around. Ah, and a hornbill came to join them. Two hornbills. There's the red-billed hornbill. So, if you guys saw the yellow-billed hornbill before earlier, and you've never seen a red-billed, this is the red-billed hornbill. You can see the bill is slightly narrower. I wonder if there's some grubs under there. And it looks like this is a family of hornbills. I can see another one a bit further up in the tree. And they're cheeky here, and they will test anything just to try and get another meal. There's the bit of bark loose. Something's caught that eye. So these are also typical hornbills. And the red-billed and the southern yellow-billed put their heads down to display. So they get split off from other typical hornbills they get called the head-down cluckers, and the grey hornbills, the other hornbills that have the heads up and whistle, get called the head-up whistlers. Really technical. So yeah, they put the heads down and then they put the wings out and flap the wings. The cicadas are calling. I've only just started hearing them the last few days. Now, whether it's just because I've just not been listening out for them, just not noticed them, but they just seem to be louder in the last few days. But they're about this sort of size, and if you can imagine a moth, widen the head, and if the moth actually sits with its wings rather than open and out sideways, they actually open but they kind of go down the body, and that's pretty much what a cicada looks like. It is classified as a bug. But they're the ones that have that constant zzz. It's because they have almost like a drum. It's a piece of skin on the abdomen, so it's just able just to vibrate backwards and forwards, and that's why they make that constant sound. Whereas with the crickets that you hear, they have to rub their legs together, so it does have that different sound to it. Or the wings, sometimes they rub the wings together, or even the wings and the leg. The cicadas just make that high-pitched buzzing. Changed a bit, because when I first came to South Africa 9 years ago, the rains were fairly regular when it was the rainy season, whereas now they have become quite irregular. And we did have rains last year around May, which was quite late for rains, and then this year everything was building up for the beginning of October, and we had a slight drizzle, and then we had nothing for a good month later, which was quite unusual as well. So once it was gearing up, that was it was coming. And we've actually had very light rains this year, but I do wonder if that isn't a season, every few years, a cycle. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like in the next 9 years. I'm just going to try and pull around a little bit, slightly better angle for you. So we've got a few Duggar boys here again, and we've got a different hip hop. So if you would like to keep a track of what's happening down at Gowrie Dam, remember we do have the live waterhole camera there, and that's for 24/7. Got some babblers way off on the other side of down to where the buffalo are. They're the ones calling in the background. Sounds like we've got maybe a couple of families having a bit of a rumble. so you can keep a watch on the waterhole throughout the day and night. And if you do have any questions while we're driving around on our LiveSafari, then send them through to questions@wildearth.tv or #SafariLive. And you can see this hippo's not too bothered by the buffalo bulls this morning. Still only hearing the babblers. I'm not seeing them. If I get a view of them, I'll show you, otherwise I'll show you in the book. But again, it's very normal to see hippo on their own. If it's a territorial bull, then he'll patrol this whole dam, whereas the females can be in groups of up to, sometimes even up to 50, but the norm is around the 10-15 mark. Hi Siberia, welcome on board this morning, and I'd love to try and show you one of those antelope you were asking about, but the Dacre and the Steenbok. She was wanting to know, are they ruminants? And yes they are, just like the buffalo that are on your screen now, but the hippo isn't. Okay, if I show you quickly, because I don't think we're going to get to see these arrow-marked babblers. So the arrow-marked babbler is this guy here, and you can see these white chevrons on the chest. That's where it gets its name, arrow-marked. So this guy here, and this bright orange eye, you can see quite clearly on them. The arrow-marked babblers, and they're the ones that you're hearing chattering away sometimes. They're very well named, I must admit. They do babble them. But interestingly, the hippo. Ooh. Okay, here's your next Who Sung It. It's going to sing again, and you can also have a look at the bird to see if you're paying attention. He's just sitting up by the nest in the tree. Oh, okay, he's flown off, but you might hear it again. Get a bicycle wheel that's turning very fast. So your last Who Sung It for the drive, while these buffalo bulls sort themselves out. I'm not sure about the weight of food. There's another buffalo bull coming in. But the hippo eats about 1/3 of what an animal his size should actually eat. And they can get up to about 1.5 tons. Sometimes for the big bulls you can get up to about 3 tons. And that's why there's a little bit of a contest between the white rhino and hippo for second place for the largest, or second largest land mammal. But generally speaking, people say the white rhino, because most of them will average, or the average is 2 tons. So most animals are around that mark, whereas the hippos often come in around the 1.5 ton, but then you do get a few individuals that will reach that 3 ton mark. But a lot of that is probably to do with the fact that they spend most of their days lying in the water, so they don't waste too much energy. I just want to see if this hippo is going to do anything with them approaching. Sometimes they can get a bit aggressive towards anyone coming into the waterhole, but there isn't any females for him to protect here, so you shouldn't he shouldn't react to the buffalo being here. There's been a few buffalo there already. Could of course be that the females are sleeping. Or maybe it's just the one that we're seeing. No. See if there's anything to find in the last few minutes of drive. Thanks, boys. Any answers for the bird calling? Village weaver. Ah, Sharon, well done Sharon. It was the crested barbet. Nope. It was sitting next to the buffalo weaver nest, but it was in fact the crested barbet. But it was a much shorter call than what we have heard it, because he has found a nest, or a mate, and they have got a nest. So it's much shorter. Taking up a Pools Road from Buffalo's Hook down. Buffalo's Hook meaning Buffalo Corner, and that was exactly right today. We've got a buffalo sitting in the corner. Bringing some African warmth to you, warming up your cold days. But unfortunately it sounds like it is coming to the end of the drive. Thank you very much everybody for all your questions. It's been wonderful having you on board this morning, and do take care wherever you are in the world. Thanks Brian, the Thumb, and Andrew, and take care for myself. Goodbye for now.